Hi everyone, it's Eddie here at Eddie Makes Art. Welcome back. And today I'm just showing you how I create fun, grungy, painty papers. And I'm doing this because I need to use up some paints that I'm running out of. So I figured this is a good way to do it. Plus I'm using book pages and stuff that I can use, paper I can use in collage, or in ephemera, or in a junk journal, something like that. And it's fun too because when you use like a printed book page like I'm using right now, it'll leave behind the print oftentimes. And so you get that cool print effect from using the book page. And you notice the book page, it's a full spread and it's bigger than my plate because I'm using an 8x10. But I just go around picking up whatever colors left behind on the plate as much as I can and then move on to the next one. I'm not looking for uniformity, I'm not looking for perfect exact, I'm looking for fun, funky, where I can, use bits and pieces of it. I'm not necessarily looking to use the entire, sheet. So keep that in mind. A good reason to do this, besides practicing, your gel plating, is practicing your color combos, figuring out, pull out your color wheel and refer to that and play with the paints that you have and see what kind of different combos you can come up with. Fortunately here, this paper is a little not the best for gel plating because in the middle it's kind of ripped from the binding. It's not a big deal. Just pick it up with a baby wipe and it's all good. And some of these prints I'm picking up with just plain white paper, mainly because I want to clean off the plate, and sometimes that helps better to clean off the plate for the next print. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. A lot of these paints that I'm using up today are Liquitex soft body acrylics, and it was from a starter set, so they come in these smaller bottles. And I'm doing my best to do both sides of the paper so that depending on what I need, I have two sides to choose from. And if I decide to use it in a journal as a page, both sides are already covered. I don't have to worry about it. And if you notice some of the paints, they start to separate as soon as they hit the plate and I bring them out. Well, that's because they have added water from when I sprayed into the bottle, so that creates that selling effect on there. But it's really cool because it adds a great texture to the print. This was a nice combo. This is Viridian green I mixed with a silver acrylic, and it turned it into such a beautiful, like almost like a turquoise color. Here's another tip. Don't throw away that empty paint bottle without opening it up and scooping out every little bit, because that is your money that you're wasting if you throw it away. So I'm doing this with my favorite gold paint. Mind you, it's a little bit chunky, so it's gonna leave a few things behind. It dries quickly, especially because this is an older, it's not as fresh as the other bottle I have, but it's still gonna work really well. And I'm going to show you this really neat trick that, if you don't already know, you can take a gel print that has already been done, and if you lay it down over paint, a lot of times that'll give you a transfer. So you see that in the next one I do. So I've got all this dried gold paint on there. So I'm going to pick it up with a transparent blue, I believe it's ultramarine. I put down that print, a nice good contact, and when I pull it up, you're going to see that print transferred to the plate. So it left behind some really cool stuff, but I also got a really nice print. So for this one, I like that print. I don't want to muddle it up with any other color, so I just picking it up with acrylic gel medium onto another print. And look at that. Two beautiful prints from that. So I decided to try again with this tulip print that I did, and it's just a raw umber. Look at that. It works so good with that copper paint. I picked it up on a darker surface, and it's really neat design. So let's try it with this one. Third time's the charm, right? There you go, there's a transfer. And then all I do is let that dry for a second and then pick it up with some, I think this is Windsor blue, beautiful blue from Windsor Nude. Pick that up on a book page and look at how beautiful this is. That's one of my favorites. Don't worry, I'll post pictures at the end of the video and you can see them all up close. For this one, I decided to do a little mark making. So I pulled out some cardboard tubes I've been holding on to in the circles so I can make different marks. And the paint I'm using, if you're interested, is the zinc from DecoArt Dazzling Metallics. Another mark making tool, a great one, is your bubble wrap. Now these new bubble wraps that I get, they are like an oval shape, so they create a really neat print on the gel plate. I'm using thin layers of paint on purpose. I'm just trying to pick up pattern and not necessarily a layer of paint. I don't want to cover it all up, but each time I lay the paint down, I use the bubble wrap and then keep using that same page, and it gives it just a more of a textured, layered look. And let's add a little bit of shine too. Why not? And another great way to create marks on your plate is to use a stamp. So what I did was I took some black paint and I put it on my smaller gel plate to use as a stamp pad, and I used a script stamp to pick up the paint and then transfer it onto the gel plate. And then I took that last print and laid it down over the wet paint on the gel plate, and then picked that up. So that gave me some really cool marks. So whatever was left behind, I picked up with a mint green paint. It's an opaque, heavy body paint that does a great job picking up layers of paint. And I let that sit overnight, but I used tissue to pick it up. I have some ideas for this, for another project. It's a wonderful print. It's like an old wall. Look at how wonderful this looks. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. Thank you guys so much for joining me on today's gel printing journey. I hope you try some of these techniques. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon.